I think we are live right now. Hello, YouTube. This is the first time we're on YouTube and only YouTube and no Instagram at all. We have two people here so far, one overloaded computer and one missing Jedi. Here is Claire. Good evening, Claire.
Hello. You meant to go 5, 4, 3.
Oh, well, to be honest, it starts a couple after I finish.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We'll watch the recording back. We have Rowan. Welcome, Rowan.
Hello.
We have the Jedi himself has arrived.
Yay!
Hello all. I've made it.
I was just
Hello,
showing
Lewis.
Star Wars top on.
Sounds.
Oh, have you? Nice.
Sorry, I don't have
No, I'm
Star
not
Wars
Lego.
on.
I'm Peking duck.
Oh,
Okay.
of course. What else?
Yeah, why not? Just what I had lying around.
Your beard is looking real pine
Oh.
lately.
It's really
like
getting
goes
some
in and it's
volume
like-
to it, isn't it?
You need to get the flurry going.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's quite a lot happening.
It's awesome.
Are you getting it groomed by the barber, or are you taking care
I've
of
had
it
it done
yourself?
once, otherwise taking care of it myself. I did it once
Mm.
for the loss of my anniversary, and I went and got a haircut and like
Ah,
got
nice.
myself all dolled up pretty. And then since then, no.
Yeah, awesome. So how are we all this week?
Yeah, good.
Well, flat chat building, to be honest, as
Yeah,
Tom
you
is
are.
well aware of. Assembling a bunch of models which I've had parts arrive for. So I've been going pretty intently with that.
Mm.
I'm for the first time. Hey, Bill, how you going? This is going to be a bit different. We don't have the Instagram feed as well. Who knows
No.
what will happen?
No, we'll see.
Head on, I suppose, so we can see the chat. That's a bit better.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I can have the chat appear on screen, but I don't know.
No. I
I've just got the chat as a side window.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is an option at the side here.
Oh, yep.
And I
Okay,
figured
good.
because we're doing starting a new build, I thought I'd bring in some of the ones I've been working on to maybe explain where I started these ones. Might help give a bit of context to a bit of it.
Yeah, I've got some pictures I can screen share showing the big GBC mine that I did back in
wicked.
2019, because I actually took pictures of every stage of the build because I wanted to do a behind the scenes kind of video, which I did end up making. It's up on my YouTube channel, but it shows all the process of that. And it was actually nice looking back through all those photos and going, oh, it was really, even that in itself, to document your build as you're building it is such a cool thing to do, because it reopened my eyes of how much prototyping I did and how many things I changed on it and where it started and where it ended up. So
Yeah, for sure.
as one of those tips, don't forget to take pictures. Pictures are free these days. You can never take too many.
True.
That's true.
It's one of the benefits of digital
Yeah.
building. I end up with 1 million files for a project. And so
Well, that's-
by the end, occasionally we've done it where I've posted like 4 different in-stage versions so you can see how it's progressed for time. Like, I think the first one I did that was Master Chief, where you see like the original output, Dave gave it a pass, I gave it a pass and went a bit too far on like a few things like weathering and then dialing it back. But because we had the different files for each version, easy enough to compile or render.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing this week. I've been trying to digital build. I'm starting to get the hang of it. It's going a lot faster.
Yeah, it's once you start learning all the shortcut keys, and you've got
Yeah.
a good mouse and keyboard to do things on, you get a lot better. And a nice big screen as well really helps.
You're going to laugh at this. I've spent all week on a trackpad on my laptop, and I thought last night, Jesus,
that
this
is
would be
painful.
easier if I had a mouse. Put the mouse in, and straight away, oh my God, what was I doing with my life?
Oh, how annoying. And are you just doing it on your old computer? Are you doing it on your old computer?
It's, my 10-year-old MacBook Air.
Wow, that's cool.
Go unload it on your school computer. Go on, your
Yeah, I
work
think I
computer.
will.
Yeah. I've got it on my work. I've got it on my work computer, as you guys know, because I build
It's
our trade show.
You're allowed to.
I'll just say I'm helping the STEAM teacher. It's fine.
Believe it or not, for the past almost 15 years, the Department of Education in Victoria has had a master copy of Windows with all the apps and things loaded. And they put it on all the students and all the teachers' laptops. And you've just frozen there. Are we all still going, or we lost?
Yeah,
Tom looks.
Story. Tell me again.
Oh,
So for about 10 plus years, every single school kid's classroom computer has had the Lego Digital Designer on it. They've had that on because it was free, and basically the designers of this master image just loaded as many freeware things educationally as possible.
This is not going well.
Mid lovely education.
I don't know what to do here.
Stop pushing the button.
My internet is the worst.
Stay still. Don't move. Stay still.
Mrs. Shelf just went and checked the quality of our internet. I don't know how she did. She did her things, and it was like high quality, like no issues at all. But
is anyone else watching or downloading stuff?
Maybe it's just the laptop.
I'm running it on the same 10-year-old MacBook Air. Like that's what I've been doing all my builds on for ages. Yeah, I got on my work computer because we use it to build our trade show booth every year. So I've used the part designer and I've got custom bricks. So I render out what our booth is going to look like to scale using Studio, and we use that as a way to build it. So
and I saw that wall of massive bricks in the background. It's cool.
And that is the trade show booth. Yeah. It's just in storage because we had nowhere to put it because it takes up 2 pallets that are 2 meters tall. So at the moment it's a 3 meter tall by like 5 meter wall that currently sits against my office and the rest of the building. Well, there's just a gap it's not like there was a wood panel, but and a little gap on one side, but then the other side was completely open. So we've just walled off that area with these giant Lego-like blocks.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, wow.
No, that's right, because I was teaching Tom's the basics of the bricker conversion. Software.
Which is
we were going through.
The hard part of that I'm finding is working out how to manipulate 3D images, 3D models on Blender. I need to watch some tutorials because, wow.
I just use cutting him down. Here is the man himself.
Oh, here's Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hello.
Been pining for you.
Hello. Well, I'm still pining for you.
Is blocked by the title.
No.
Yay.
Hooray. How you going, Dave?
Yeah, good. I was cleaning my laptop. I had to open it because I realized that the fans were full of dust. So it was overheating. God. Well, it's only a 10-year-old laptop, so...
your computers.
I think it was overdue to be dusted, so...
Very fair.
All right, so just jumping back on some of the comments. Gareth said, install a Lego program on a school computer. That sounds like a fun way to hand in resignation.
No.
I'm a primary school teacher. It's going to make sense.
It's like fine.
It'd be totally fine. Helena is commenting on the quality of the stream, I think, with all of the interruptions that we're having. David, my computer's going as well as yours tonight. Don't you worry.
This is a little less like a fire, but not much.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get a new laptop, but interest rates keeps going up. So,
Helena and Bill are welcoming David.
Hey, Helena.
I think this is the first time we've spoken face to face ish since the teary. Well, I'm calling it a finale. The show's over now.
Same here. It was so sad.
It goes over in my heart.
It's over in my heart.
It was beautifully edited. I'm gonna tell you, I was pumped with the speech that I gave. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
You nailed it. Yeah. Absolutely nailed it.
No,
Never been a class on Lego Masters.
Yeah, it was sad. It was sad.
And look, my secret shame is that I haven't really watched the show. Like prior to the season. No, I hadn't really watched it. And so we've actually started with this season and gone back. This is a very entertaining season. Like, it's been really entertaining to watch. Like, I don't know, it's been really enjoyable. So we've now gone back and we started watching it all again.
The quality of the builds this season was just out of the...
Insane.
It's ridiculous.
You've got to tell me, David, how much time and money goes into Hamish's antics? Because they're so... Like, this season...
You know what?
It's so intense.
A lot of the things, like, I'm sure that dressing up as a, well, you haven't seen it yet, but dressing up as a centurion just to pump Scotty, I'm sure that was his idea, and he came up with it on the spot.
Yeah, that was the most recent.
We saw that.
Yeah, that's been Ed.
Yeah, that's been out. But I'm sure it was Hamish's idea. He just thinks of all that stuff, and I'm sure that someone behind the scenes, probably, I don't know, Dave Holder, no, waiting for. Okay, Hamish needs a 20-meter pole with a saxophone in the tip because he wants to run a bit, and someone's gonna run and get it.
No, it's been a fantastic season.
I think this series is different because everyone on the show has experience with how the show works. Not that they're, I mean, they are expert. You know, I really would consider everyone an expert Lego builder not by now. They're not novices, but they know how the show works. They know the style of building that's required straight from the get-go, not just...
Oh, but it was different. Without going into details, I can tell you this time around, there's a lot of things, and I think I've said this before, but there's a lot of things this season that are required to do something else. It's not just about building the Lego. It's about doing something else, like the GBC machine, the rocket, the string hanging from a string.
You have to do something else. They're just pushing your builds in all the different directions, and that's the only way they could go. I mean, you couldn't just build a castle, build a big town. It had to be different.
It does feel like a good step up. Like you guys, of course, are you talented, but not even necessarily like, I don't want to say harder, but like they're making you think. Felt like they're making you think more about how to stand out. And like, I'm not sure how it feels like to be judged on there, but when he turns around, Brickman's idea of like, is this a Grandmasters worthy thing? At least I kind of, I at least have felt like watching this, that is coming through, as in you guys are really pushing the bounds beyond what a normal season would.
Except the past changes, I didn't really enjoy that one. I didn't get that one.
Sorry, we lost you a little bit, Claire.
Is that my fault or is that Claire's fault?
Oh, okay.
No, it's Claire's fault, I think. What was that?
I've got to say, though.
What did I do? Sorry.
Are you back, Claire? What were you saying? Is she back?
Oh, I was saying that the one that had all the past challenges. Can you hear me? Is it all right?
Yeah.
The one that had the past challenges. I didn't really enjoy that episode. I just thought that was a bit of a filler. I just didn't get it. I mean, I know it wasn't an elimination, but bloody hell, I thought it was a silly challenge.
How good it was that 2 out of the 5 challenges was challenges that we won in our season.
Yes.
Does maybe wonder, were they the ones chosen ahead of time, or did they use those because you weren't there by that point in time?
It was probably whatever they had in storage. Yeah,
that's also very true.
Yeah.
I'd say entertaining. Like, it's been great to watch. I mean,
the last couple
have
definitely been, and I'm almost getting a little bit tired of where whoever's got the brick of immunity picks it for everyone else. That that was only a once in a while thing that happened on the earlier seasons, but it seems like every time you get to pick the thing and you get to pick it for everyone else seems to be the main. That's the only benefit. There's not many Brickman helping you out or other forms. No,
like time advantage or something.
Time advantage. None of those bonuses are happening as much.
Yeah, that was always my favorite, time advantage as a viewer. Just making everyone sit there while someone's building, just itching to go. I was talking to someone, I can't remember who it was, earlier this week, about how much better the builds are this season. It's ridiculous, like so intimidating to see you guys and what you pump out in really short time frames, I reckon. And
and the times were shorter this season.
So shorter.
Yeah.
I was saying that, like, never having built the 2 big things I've built are a lair and an Arkham Asylum, right? So after building the lair, I felt like much more confident builder than when I started. And then after building Arkham, I felt more confident than when I started. I can't even imagine having a whole season of building big things and then going to the next one. You'd be such a confident builder, even if you started your original season as a set builder. By the time you turn up at Grandmasters, you would have at least 10 massive builds under your belt. You'd be so confident.
Listen, there's a moment of panic when you get the challenge. you know the imposter syndrome. When you first hear what the challenge is going to be, that episode where you go, what the hell am I going to do? I shouldn't be here. What am I doing? What idea am I coming up with for this challenge? And there's an honest moment of panic when because your idea needs to be solid. Otherwise, you're not going to make it.
The scariest thing of the whole lot, not the building, is
coming
up with the idea during the time limit.
Coming up with an idea quickly.
If they somehow told you beforehand and you somehow had an hour to think about it and discuss and nut out all the techniques or the
see you next week.
The worst bit is when you struggle coming up with an idea, you finally settle with an idea, you both are happy with the idea, and then Brickman comes over and says, you know what? Don't think you're in a good path. And you go,
I felt like that about the pillow fight idea. I really wanted to see that idea. I really liked that concept.
I thought it was an awesome idea.
So did I. I did too. Or a snow fight even.
Not what a snow globe should be. I'm like, but isn't that the point? They're pushing the envelope a little bit. I don't know. I wish we saw that one.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I do too. I reckon they could have done it. Yeah, I agree.
And yet other ones like Damien and Andrew's space race against a snowy mountain. Like you could just say just as much with that. That doesn't fit in with it. How can you have an asteroid, a snowy flat thing? But I guess it's just whatever makes the story and what makes the episode.
Oh, do you think he just does it every now and again just to put the pressure on? Like it makes for better TV. If he comes up right after you settle,
this episode's a bit boring.
Under pressure.
I disagree with an idea.
Like that's a conspiracy theorist in me that thinks he just does it.
I don't think I was really paying attention to at the start of that Cliff episode when they were explaining their plan, Damien and Andrew's plan, because I thought their plan was they were going to build a portal in the side of the cliff and then have a massive Star Cruiser spaceship disappearing into the. I thought it was just going to keep going out and out. I thought it was genius because it's the same as like a rocky cliff coming out. You're just clouding it like a spaceship. And I thought they would do amazingly at it, and then it just never came. I was just waiting for this big spaceship to be built, and it just never came. I just wasn't paying enough attention.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that episode again.
Kate said it can take weeks just to think of something for Brickvention. Haha, she's not wrong. Which is actually our topic. I just realised we haven't been talking about our topic.
Well, we have been
through Tom's live stream fashion. We are
starting
haven't really talked about what we're here for.
17 minutes in.
We've also had, speaking of not staying on topic, Lewis, did you fill up that wine glass enough?
It's not just wine.
Wine and
mix. Yeah, it's a bit of a mix I found, which means you can lengthen it out, and it was alright. It's something I learned in hospo, interestingly enough.
Wait, what is the mix?
Like what? Red wine and Coca-Cola.
Oh, I was joking.
No, it seems odd. It's like red wine. It's like Coke. It's a hospo thing that I learned, and it's just a profile that works for me. It's a strange thing, I know.
But,
isn't that a shandy?
Yeah, it's like the same idea as a shandy, basically.
It sounds very classy.
You learn a lot of things when you're desperate working in hospitality.
That's our drink of choice this Saturday night, Claire, on the live stream. Wine and Coke live stream.
Red wine?
Anyway, you should go starting a new build.
Yeah, come on, starting a new build. So, I reckon I would love to talk about starting a new build, like right from searching for an idea. So when you're looking for a new idea for a build, where do you go, or where do these ideas spring from generally for you guys?
Images.
I'm stuck in that at the moment because I'm tearing so much apart and I'm waiting for inspiration. I've got a few things in my pipeline of what I want to build, and some of them are either going to be modifications of someone else's build, but in my own spin, so just the theme of it. I am also always watching out for me different mechanisms and ways I can make Lego bricks move. And there's a few things that I've just recently flagged in the last day. So I will collect a whole bunch of these and I will start experimenting. So I've got all these little half-built things, some things that will never be ever finished. And I just try them out. And that's the thing. I've got to try these things and see if they work. But I still need that big spark, and I haven't found that for my next big Brickvention build or anything like that. And that's the bit I need a bit of inspiration for.
So do you
trying
reckon the
something
spark,
different that I haven't done before.
is the spark for you generally
Hmm.
just an idea that comes across that grabs you, or is that
The one thing that will always grab me is something that I've never seen anyone do in Lego before. That is for me, the hugest draw card. I'm even looking at you guys doing your brick built weapons and things. I think, is there something in the comic world, online gaming world, or something that no one has done as a real life object? Going back to a few weeks ago, the topic.
Just want
And
to show
is there
like
something out there that no one has ever built, and it'd be like great to do it before anyone else.
that
here's
was
my
me with the
example
magic?
of that. Exactly.
Oh, here we go. Look at this.
There you go. And
I've never seen anybody
wow.
try
there's been
these
smaller
masks.
ones done of that, but none of that scale. That looks like a really nice.
I've never seen anybody do
Right.
these at all, like in this scale. I've never seen it done.
I want them
And
seeing
that's why
right
it was
there
really
in the
appealing to me, because I had no idea where to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to starting, I mean, for this, I was like, what determines the scale was this piece. And then sort of the same for the eyes, and then everything else gets molded around that concept.
Is that inspiring Joss's build, or you hadn't seen it before, or you haven't seen the episode yet?
Oh, which one is that?
The
No,
Disney episode?
Oh no, like I designed these 3 months ago.
Ah, okay.
Essentially, I've just only started building them, waiting for
What
the
part
parts.
of Joss's build was that?
That Moana build was great, like that face,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But that idea of like getting expression, like for this, the thing I wanted to do was the
Yeah.
motley teeth.
Yeah.
I just wanted not normal teeth. So this entire build started from the teeth. Before,
See, something like that, I bet when you zoom right in and have a look, it's probably not overly complicated. It's just the technique of getting the slopes and the curves around for forming the lips and everything just stands out really well.
if you want him to be like take 20 years off him, you can just make him well shaven, and then touching the beard on at the end. Well, that was in a bottle. I'd not seen that prior to you. I'm not sure if you're the only one doing it, but I've not seen them done. Like,
well, I actually asked Jan, the dude from Lego, who came to Brickvention, if he's seen it, because he goes to conventions everywhere in the world, and he said he's only seen one other dude in Japan, I think it is, that did it once.
Wow.
But this is how I'm building from the back.
Yeah.
For me, it's the same thing. I think Rohan hit it on the mark. I tried to build things that I haven't seen a lot of people building on.
Yeah.
Like when I did the giraffe, Her Majesty will like, "Can we borrow?" Hey, I'm selling them, so if she wants one, she can get one. Yeah, she's got to buy it. The giraffe. I've never seen a giraffe in the scale that I built, or the weeping angel in the big scale that I built. That it was just a massive statue, scary looking. That is not meant to be a cartoon. It's meant to be more realistic. So that's what I try to go for. Things that I know definitely will challenge me, and that I haven't seen before.
My last lucky one was my spinning top that I did for Fleur's challenge, and that was just pure luck. As soon as I had the idea, I have to Google as much as I can. I spent half an hour Googling everywhere I could find, going through as many Lego things. Has anyone done a spinning top? No. Let's get on straight away. And that was the spark that just got me going, and just said, "No, I've got to do this." And within half an hour, it was built and working.
And even sometimes when I've seen someone done it before, I go, "Well, I reckon I can do it better."
That's exactly the point I was going to bring up earlier. Is that a lot of my popular mocks started as not being the first, but addressing. I guess criticism isn't the right word, but looking at something and going, well, if I was going to do this, this is what I would like to see. I mean, that's another example, another one that I finished recently, this little Sting from The Hobbit. A basic thing was the inlay pattern that the sword has. Everyone does it in plates. So I did it out of flex tubes.
Yeah, nice.
And while that's it might end up looking better in plates, I wanted to try a technique that I hadn't seen done. As a basic. So I had a look. I looked deliberately. Even basic things like the pommel, no one's done it in dark grey for some reason. Even though when I looked at reference images, the guard and the pommel looked darker, but it was something I noticed deliberately when I looked at 10 other builds of what have they done, and directly tried to make one that doesn't look like anything that's out there, but still looks like the source material, which can be a challenge in and of itself, trying not to step on someone else's shoes. But you're doing the same source material, but you're trying to put your own spin on it. And I think that is a challenge in and of itself.
My Sparks definitely would 6-year-old Tom be impressed with this. It's always that.
Yeah.
So
it's always
Turtles, because that was like 4-year-old Tom, and then 6-year-old Tom was Batman animated series. Next, I'm going to go to Spider-Man, because that was when Batman tuned out. I tuned into Spider-Man animated series. That's just what I'm doing.
Well,
so in 5 years, you're going to be doing your taxes in Lego?
5 years. 5 years from Spider-Man I was what, 10? No, 8.
All right. So you're going to be making a girlfriend out of Lego then?
Well, he's got the wife. So, can't have another one now.
No, if it's going chronologically, I mean.
Oh, that's true.
All right, that's the progress. That's the roof.
Oh wow,
very nice.
All right.
How you do
How
that?
many are you going to make in this one?
Rowan, I wanted to ask you this. I'm putting together a set. I didn't ever see these in white before.
They've been in white for a little while. One thing you will, if you ever find one in black, and you've got a few of them, please give me a call. They came in black in one set, and it was a Viking set. You know, when Lego did the early Viking series.
Yeah,
and
I've only got the regular bushes in black.
Yeah, they. I'm not sure why they produced it in black, because I looked at the instructions and it's kind of like a meaningless. They didn't really need it. It wasn't standing out for anything, but whatever it was.
Are those the single height, or the one by one, or the one by
the half bushes? So
was that in Lego's era when they kept making new molds and recolors and nearly went bankrupt?
Yeah,
was that era? Like maybe they just did it because
they've got yellow and thing. It's like the little half pin has been in white for a little while now, but it wasn't.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to
I
mute
like
myself.
That they're doing those in new colors. Like I really like that we've got the friction versions as well as having all the different colors. Like it's nice to finally have something different.
I'm probably going to do a repost soon, but I've been collecting all those parts in all the different colors, so I'm due for another layout of all the different colors. But well, even 47-year-old me still hasn't built a spaceship as big as what I did when I was about 12 or 13 years old. I've got 1 or 2 photos of this massive spaceship I made with nearly all my Lego. And it was one of those rare times where Mum actually got the camera out and took a film photo.
Wow.
That was so rare, because I look back, I was going through all my childhood photos and there's almost hardly any of me playing with Lego, even though that was such a big part of my life, because we just didn't take pictures of kids around the house playing with their toys.
No.
Tom and photos were only for holidays and things like that. And one of the builds that I did do was I was on holidays, actually right near Bendigo, Malden, and I had only a subset of my Lego. I just took a small suitcase of it rather than the whole lot. And I built a vehicle Voltron. So the alternate Voltron, which was all vehicles, and I made a version of that. And luckily my mum took a picture of all the sections laid out on a towel, and I've been meaning to rebuild that.
Wow.
Lewis
was just saying, the Bricker team asked us to send them a photo of us now and us when we first got into Lego, or playing with Lego as a kid. There's nothing. Like my parents did not take photos of me while I was playing Lego. That was just
one on Christmas morning. And
I have one photo of me playing with a pack of ciggies. I have one photo of me drinking from a bottle of wine, and I was 2. But no Lego. It explains a lot, but
all my photos are me dressed up in something. So the best I could find was me dressed up as Batman or me dressed up as a clown.
I don't even know if we can see that at all. No, it's probably a bright. This was the only one I could find of me with Lego as a kid. So I grew up.
What are you wearing? Have you got boots on, or are they socks?
Gum boots, because that's just one of the houses that was flooded. So next to the house.
So you took it down to the stiff float.
Yeah, so I've got my boat, which I've built, and I've taken it out because it had that little motor.
Oh, look at little Lewis. How
I mean,
cute.
I've suddenly got 100 meters of open water where grass was yesterday. So, of course, the first thing I do is take the boat out. I'm in my gumboots going with that. Like, so funny. And just, yeah, in the middle of it, just the middle of like rural Victoria. But like, that was the only photo I could find as a kid, which is bizarre because you think it would be there. But I kind of love that it's just like this little iconic just there.
Yeah, it's
in the
cool.
mud, in the rain, just with my Lego, having a good time.
That's cool. Aw.
Claire, what about you? You were saying images for getting ideas. So like Instagram?
Well, yeah, I follow a lady on Instagram called Southern Girl Dreaming, and I love all her stuff. And she mainly takes photos of abandoned old buildings or churches or houses, like in Georgia. And so I was sort of originally basing my mock on her old churches, abandoned churches. So that's where I started with her. Yeah. And my story's evolved a little bit, but I've got more of a story now as I've been building, which I know it's not the right way that people say to do, but my story definitely has evolved. And I've done heaps now. I'm doing really well. I'm loving it. And I've got more of a story in my head. So it's really it's coming along great. I'm loving it.
Yeah,
that's
that's
the next place my head goes once I've come up with what I want to build. It's what story is the build going to tell, for sure.
Yeah.
Mini pig scale builds, especially because I mean it's so like that. I feel like for me that's half the fun of using the minifigs is posing them around. Like I love building replica stuff, but that's not telling a story. That is just for the effect of looking at it from a distance. It doesn't look like Lego. Like that's about all you get from that. It's like a nostalgia bait, not its own contained little story, which is something I'd like to get back into doing probably in the future.
Yeah. And I know on the show they say you can't, like Brickman always says, how can you be building without a story? But it's different in the TV world because you've only got a certain amount of time. But I do believe your story can evolve when you're just doing a mock at home, and you're limited with what parts you have as well. You know? Yeah,
I'm not flying through that, David. Yeah, wow. I find that the story changes the composition of the build. Is why I think of the story next.
Oh, big time! And
that's all about how you
composition is really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's shifted for me, the composition, because I started on Instagram, right? So I started building for a little photo. So everything faced forward. It was just that angle. Yeah. Everything, as long as you could see it from that one angle, the build was good. But then I start going to shows, and the builds with presence are the ones you can walk all the way around.
Yeah.
The ones shoved up against the walls and not the ones people are talking about. So then it changes the way I have to, the way I want to think about the composition. Like, is that scene still going to look good if you're looking over from the back?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's like with our props, the alternate to that is, as opposed to us just having props, we put in the element of like posing and photos. So our thing is like, how can I make this a build that I'm comfortable to hand to a complete stranger without falling apart? Like, that's like the antithesis of the story is getting...
With a few exceptions, every time they get dropped to the ground.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, like I've said before, I just go, it's part of the game. It's what I've chosen to do. But I like that's my sort of current way of getting people involved with a build that is predominantly front-facing, like Tom says.
That's pretty cool.
Can I just interrupt? I want to see Dave put a piece in that glass. How does he do it?
It's magic. That's why it's all...
Did you invent that tool, Dave? That tool in your hand? Did you invent that?
Well, it's a screwdriver with blue tack on the tip.
Oh my goodness!
So, right now, I'm just putting the
windscreen wipers.
Sorry, screen wipers. Sorry, too focused at the moment. There you go.
That is unbelievable. I can't believe you do that. That is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
Oh, you can see. Sorry, you can see here. So I have built it in sections. So these are the sections that. This is one van. So it goes. This is one side. This is one side.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how the full van looks like in sections. So this.
I thought you were putting those all on one by one, and I thought you were absolutely screenwriting.
That's That's what I thought. I thought this guy should be on Lego Masters. Bloody hell.
So all these pieces is this is one van for windows.
Okay.
That is
The
outrageous.
roof pieces.
Yeah.
So I
David,
should all
Bill,
together.
Bill's ordering a Lego yellow one, please.
Oh, I have it for you. This is one I prepared earlier.
Oh,
Oh, that's beautiful.
normal yellow, or is that like the bright yellow?
No, this is regular yellow,
I
and
think
I've
it's
got the
green.
green one as well.
That's
Oh,
Okay,
I
I'm
like the green one. Green one's
I guess-
nice.
Yellow's the
around,
party way.
around Canberra, all the combis are blue for some reason. So I'll hold my breath until that one joins. And tell me this.
He just pulled
Hey,
Oh yeah.
you want a blue? I have a blue,
Yes.
but regular blue.
it. Just keeps
What
doing
did
it.
you
Just keeps doing
do?
it to me.
What did you
I'm doing
do?
nothing. I'm doing
At least
nothing.
at least it comes back. That's
What-
the main thing.
Yeah.
I feel like he just doesn't
Have
like
you
it. So he just keeps
Sell
kicking his
Dave?
butt.
Is that why
This
you're
blue
making more?
Louis-
That's
this
beautiful.
Oh,
blue
that-
Louis,
what blue is that? I'm trying to figure out the.
Turquoise?
that is turquoise.
That's
this one's going.
that's what you see around Canberra. The's quite a few of those.
That's the same
This one's
colour.
going to a
That's
bank.
nice.
That's so cute. I love it.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah, I'm
making
gonna
them
be-
to sell already, Dave? Or?
Yep.
Yep.
Did you end up
How many have you got?
talking to the Brick Nanza guy?
I'm making right now. I've made 4. I'm making another 5 because last time at Brickvention I sold 1, and a lot of people came over, so I had to build another 3, and I sold 4 of those at Brickvention. So
Nice.
Did you end up
yeah.
talking to the guy for Brick Nanza? What's that, in 2 weeks?
No, I haven't talked to him, but I'm going to. There's an event in Mox, Mox Market, so I'm gonna bring him to Mox Market.
Yeah, nice. I think that's on the 3rd of June.
Yeah, 3rd of June.
Hmm.
Well,
I
we've
have
talked
to
about
do
the
this
start of
one.
the build.
First
Dave,
birthday.
why did you get into doing these? What inspired
The
you to
bottles?
do this of all things?
The bottles.
Just the
Oh.
bottles themselves? Yeah.
4
like-
a.m. YouTube rabbit hole. 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah,
Ah.
right.
Isn't that the best?
Yeah,
of
see,
times?
we were talking about starting a new build. Those are
Yeah.
places of inspiration as well.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
I
watching
really like
this
the long
dude.
play YouTube format.
Yeah, I was watching this dude building an actual ship in a bottle, like the proper ship in a bottle. And
Yeah.
I said, I wonder if I can make it with Lego. And I have the first one I ever built. I have it here.
I wonder if they do the ship in the bottle the same way with the screwdriver and blue tack.
Yeah, probably.
That does look
This
like
is-
an elite way of putting things together.
The
Oh, that's
first
I
one,
even
cool.
like that the screwdriver's bent so that he's got that pressure earlier than
Yeah. Yeah.
one of them is
Yeah.
bent. I built this one in 2013.
Wow.
What's the
Awesome.
water? Is that cones?
No, it's just pot plant stones.
Ah, right.
But yeah, 2013, I made the first one
That's
ever.
cool. Wow.
The traditional way was with the wooden ones is that they would have the mast folded down. They would
Yep.
insert it in, and then they'd pull a string, and then the mast would stand up, and that. was
Oh,
the easiest
okay.
way.
They
So
didn't
you're
even
actually
build it
not
in the
that
bottle. Lazy.
Do you ever get an extra piece in a set that you're like, I definitely messed up? Like,
All the
I
time.
got an
Always.
ingot, but I counted. I've never seen an ingot as a spare because I counted, and all the ones that should be in there are in there.
Quickest
Yeah,
way is
good.
you go on the
Okay.
Bricklink and look at the
Okay.
excess parts down the bottom of the inventory, and that will
Yeah.
tell you.
Unless
With
it's
your-
like maybe they've become extras. I'm not sure. Like, I really appreciate that these are now extra parts.
Is that a
Oh,
half?
yeah, yeah.
as well?
Yeah, the half because they're very expensive on the aftermarket. So I really
Oh,
appreciate
look at that. I
having
saw the
I
bottle.
haven't built a
Bill-
set for ages.
DM me on Instagram, Bill. Yeah.
You're hustling,
Yeah,
though.
Oh, dude.
That's it.
This is
I mean, I
this is
respect it.
Tom's Tom's stream, so we got a revenue
Yeah, no,
somehow.
go for it. Anyone else want to sell something?
Who's
May the fourth sale on Brick Vault.
who's going to Sydney?
Yeah, I'll be at
When
Sydney.
is Sydney? Is Sydney next weekend?
No,
Is that
No,
next
no,
weekend?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I'm
Oh,
And
okay.
2 weeks' time, I
60% there.
believe we're
You
doing a
could-
giveaway related to Brick Built on YouTube.
What?
Oh.
What was that?
Okay.
I think Helena was saying that Brick Built Sydney wants to do a
Yep.
giveaway on this stream in 2 weeks on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
Hate doing
Helena
Helena.
is
Jesus,
just
no, it's not
screaming.
next week.
Sorry, mate. Ultimate sticker method, which I'm sure people have seen.
Oh yeah.
Stick on the end of your
Oh,
sticker.
yeah, do that all the
But I
time.
I
hate
actually
wings.
also
Yeah.
have another
Wings
one
are a
holding the
pain.
part.
Oh.
I have
That's not
I
bad.
have the part on a thing and I have the sticker on a thing. Anyway.
So if I'm doing tiles, I line up all the tiles on a plate and then just do them.
Mm.
Because I'm real anal about getting an even space around the sticker because I know that they don't go right to the edges.
Yeah. And sometimes you want to line them up against the other sticker and not have them
Yes,
the
that is
same.
true. Sometimes,
True.
yes.
Helena's just commented, Jesus, no, it's not next week because she's frantic.
Sorry, Helena.
Organize all this.
Yeah. Sorry,
But she
Helena.
did say earlier, and I put it up. Here we go. I need a new laptop. This is back when we were talking about laptops. Trying to do the artwork for the Brick Built t-shirts, and my poor laptop is struggling. What's the artwork going to be? Because I
Ooh,
just
do we get
assumed
a
it would be the same. Last time Brick Built artwork was just Brick Built Sydney, and there wasn't any year or anything, so I figured they'd just
No.
keep using that logo.
Unless, mate, have you been inspired because Peoples did the goat? So now it
Yeah,
feels
they've
like a
been
Bari
got to
grade.
one up the goat.
Honestly,
I think the
like
goat was a very good idea.
all the Bendigo
Yeah.
shirts don't have the name of the exhibition on the front.
No, they're
So
on the
you will
back.
wear it as a shirt, but on the then when you're walking away from people, it says exhibitor.
Yeah.
Ah,
But
got
by
you.
that
I'm
time,
actually a
you're walking
nerd.
away from them, so they're not going to say anything.
Maybe behind your back though.
I'll call you back.
I
What are you
occasionally
doing?
wear my Brickvention t-shirt just down to the local supermarket, and sometimes I'm like, there's some guys just
Mine's
pick on me and say something.
mine's
Just 'cause
hanging
it's
up
so
too
loud,
big.
I've worn the pink one a few times walking the dogs. Just because
No, mine's
like
too big. It comes down to my knees, I think, almost.
do the thing where they tie the knot at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. I'll wear it Sunday night.
Okay, to bring it back to topic, I have a question
Yes.
for you. So, what do you do when you're trying to materialize your idea? So, do you draw it first? Do you
Good
build a
question.
little model? Do
Well, this is
you
where my,
start building
if I
straight
wanna-
away?
Share my screen, my
Yeah.
Chrome window.
Do you build it in Studio first?
I think we've talked about this before. Life-size builds, Ron and I have talked about using things like Microsoft Excel because you can size the squares and like use it as like a blueprint, which is one way that you can start. Oh, right. So you've just put
So
everything in a position.
This
you
is
want.
what I did. I laid out a whole series of plates, and I had the concepts, like the bit at the dumper at the top in the red. I had a chute coming down in white, a yellow bridge going over a river. And it was a really, 10-minute mock-up just to go through and see how does it all fit. It ended up growing about a third bigger than this, which is normal when you do things. But I could see from all angles, in my case, where I wanted things to go.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be anything really, but for me, it's mechanics and mountains. And I had to work from high to low because the balls fall down. But as you can see, I'm starting to mock up things now. And just really get a feel for how things, and ultimately this rotating thing down the bottom here didn't make the cut. I ended up pulling it out completely. But bit by bit, I sort of got things, and then I was working on mechanisms. And this is a good example of how I go through my first prototypes that are messy and ugly, but then I'll go through and refine them and get them a bit neater and tidier. And I'll build two of them. So I'll keep my original one there.
Yeah.
This helps me so much with mechanics, but I can't see why it wouldn't help if you're doing anything, is you keep your original there, providing you've got enough parts, and you build a second one, and you can go back and forth and see the differences.
So it's building a physical blueprint.
Yeah, it is. And then, I flip between doing the creative. Once I've done enough technique and it's like, okay, I'm stuck on something, I'll go and do a bit of creativity building and start flushing out some of the other details. Start doing the edging at the front here, working out how that's going to go. Again, refining the motors and things like that. And again, here's the example of the explosion, the main heart of the whole thing. That was how it was first on the right, and then on the left is how it is pretty much to this day.
Cool.
And so you could see me explaining it and sort of showing how it's working. And of course, more and more gets added in. and eventually. I think at this point now is where I started breaking it apart and making it modular, because that's the other big thing is if you're going to build a big thing, you've got to be able to transport it, and it's all well and good. But at some point, you don't want to go too far down the track and say, I can't split this. So this is where I actually went through and said, no, I'm going to split it. I actually measured my tubs, and I knew that on the left-hand side, I could fit that into a tub.
Yeah.
And there you go. It's becoming more and more complete. And as you can see, this is where it all pulls apart into smaller sections.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, that was just pretty much the build, and it really helped me quite a lot to do that, get everything working.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just waiting for the motor mufflers.
Yeah, you got to be a bit careful on how you use them, and it's the nature of putting them on a baseboard or anything, and you get the vibrating echo, and it's really hard to dampen down Lego motors sometimes. There's a few tricks, but I can only do so much. Yeah, that was. Sorry, that was just basically the fun thing. And again, even with the TNT dynamite, it started off with a very simple prototype, and then it slowly got built up to the big thing.
The angle I was going to expand on from Rowan's point there is taking the idea of building modular, but it doesn't necessarily have to be for big builds. So I think when I started building mocks, one of my biggest, I'd say, like learning curves was to try and not make everything like integrated in one go.
Yeah.
Like having everything perfectly interlocked as you go versus the way that I build now is it's like I take like the exam approach, find the bit that you can do the easiest and do that first. And so if I'm building something, especially like these life-size replicas, I'll pick sections of it. Like if it's a Mandalorian helmet, I look at the sides of the head because they always have detail and the vents on the back, and I build all of these in isolation.
Yeah.
Like an example I got here of this mask, one of the things I built was the bone, but I just built that entirely in isolation before anything else and had it. And the same as like even something as simple as an eyebrow. But I built a lot of the parts separately. And then what I end up doing, because I do a lot of digital building now, I just position them approximately where they should go and fill in the gaps, which is a bit harder to do physically, but you can. It'd be like, say, for your thing of the GBC, it'd be the equivalent of building little modules first and then aligning them around and figuring out the in-between connections.
That said, it is a little bit opposite with mechanics and motion, and often you need to get the guts of the thing first, but be mindful when you're building it that you've got to put a shell around it to hide it if that's what your intended purpose is. But you've got to leave room for it. You can't go and build something either too small and then realize my little head here, that's all well and good, but the way I built the thing in the middle there, I can't fit the gears in there. So I'm going to have to, which I am going to do for fun, I'm going to rip this whole head apart and effectively just leave what was left at the front originally, and then sort of build in reverse, knowing that I don't want to change the face. I want to keep that exactly the same. But what can I scrape? What can I hollow out? Yeah. And that's where a lot of the hard work is when you're trying to do a perfect mock and you don't have a time limit or anything like that, is that you can really see how tricky you can go. How close can I shave things away to fit more things inside or to fit more detail in it? And it's just
I would say that even falls under that same banner. If you've got the face, like you build that part first, as opposed to trying to figure out the mechanism necessarily first.
Yeah.
And so that's the way that I'd recommend to people is start the exam approach. Do what's easy.
Yeah.
Fill out what you can, because then you're going to find the rest of it flows. Like that was one of the biggest issues I have with mock building is trying to have the final picture at the start.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's not the way. And it evolves. It changes as you build, as you go. But I think it's that very daunting and overwhelming feeling of wanting to do a project. I mean, of course, GBC with all your mechanics, but I look at something like Tom's Turtle build. If you just started looking at that, like that's what you wanted, you're like, I want this streetscape and everything, and that you're trying to always achieve the end result at the start. I think it's a real struggle versus building little segments and then seeing how your story is going to go and building it along those lines. And that then leads back into Ron's modularity idea. If you build in modules, it gets a lot easier.
I still can't highly recommend enough either taking photos of your build along the way or
Oh,
building duplicates of them, just putting one aside, and then okay, I'm going to start on either a
or
repeat of
studio.
this
If
either way.
you are comfortable with studio, build a replica.
Or that, yeah.
That's what I do. For example, for the bottles with the combis, I did build after. Actually, well, I like to build first in real life. I don't. I actually do studio after I build in real life.
Oh,
Bless you.
scared me.
Sorry, I'm going to
Sorry.
cover this thing next time. I didn't realize the mic was out there.
Scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding in
Yeah.
studio as well, David. Just build something. Oh, that might be good enough, but I'll just put it aside and try again.
But I do it. I actually because in studio you get to see. So there's a big downfall for studio, and that physics and gravity do not
Yeah.
apply on studio.
It has
So-
what a checker for that. Have you used it?
Yeah, but it's not the
It
same.
I don't use
kind
it
of
very
works for
often.
sort of house
Okay.
builds.
Yeah.
It doesn't
I just don't
work,
really use it. I just know
all
it has it.
directions.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it works. For example, for the combi, as I said, I built it first how I knew I wanted to look like. Then I broke it apart into bits that I could fit into the bottle, that it would make my life easier. And still, you saw there's like 20 parts, different parts that go into the bottle. But at the same time, because I'm pressing with these things, so I need to be able to push down and it doesn't just crumble inside the bottle because I have to start over.
Yeah.
So you have to think about how you have to think about all those little details.
Mhm.
So I just
Supports,
Mm.
yeah.
long
Well, something like
long
that, you're not
answer
gonna be able
short,
to do.
I just wing it along.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
only
I
do
just
that
figured.
physically.
Yeah.
With something like the
Yeah.
turtle build, though, I knew the world I wanted to build, and I knew that I would want to tell heaps of different stories, and I knew the areas, like I wanted to have something that represented each of the turtles, a part of the layer that represented each of them. So like the kitchen for Michelangelo, the training dojo for Leonardo, the
Yeah.
workshop for Donnie, you know? And then I just started at the front. I went, I'll just do something at the front that'll stop the kids from knocking everything else over. So I did like
Yeah.
the waterway, and then what comes after the waterway, and I just kind of built that way. It was just like a strip at a time. What will go behind this section? What will go
That's very
behind this?
logical storytelling.
And then-
that you said there.
Having the section in front already
Yeah.
there, compositionally, I was never blocking anything because everything that was going to block it was already on the board.
I think you got really
Yeah.
lucky with that after its second version of it, where you started eating into the side panels and
Mm.
everything and having all those mini scenes around. And that actually was almost, we can call it a stroke of genius or luck or whatever you want to call it.
That's just luck.
Yeah, just dumb luck, first time.
No. You're a genius, Tommy. You're a genius.
But for you to
Genius,
have that,
Tom.
it really was a Colosseum amphitheater. It was this beautiful scene that's got all the crazy little nooks and crannies, but at the same time, in its nature, because it wasn't like a mountain or anything like that, you had this nothingness that you could then build into, and that's what your second version just became.
And you still think like it was beautiful as it was, but that extra version elevated it so much just by having the little scenes on the outside. And it's like you said about the composition of a three-dimensional viewing experience.
Whilst you were talking, I just thought, I'm going to change something in the combi.
I do
I
like,
think that's
if
it,
I could, I would compose every build I did like that. I love being able to put your head in and you're in the world.
Yeah.
I just worry that if I did everything I built in that same format, people are like, well, he can only do one thing. That's all he just does that over and over again. So I look forward to going back to that format sometime. I'll try a few other things so that people think I'm a real builder first.
I really hope the side project you're working on comes out, because I'm very excited.
I don't know. No, we won't talk
Tom and
about
I playing around in Bricker for sculpture work. I'll basically leave
Is that the one we're going to do for Prevention next year?
Oh yeah, Lewis,
that one I'm trying to figure out how to make it logistically work, and then pitch it to everyone. But this one that Tom's working, I'll just say that sculpture work is more of the thing.
Yeah,
am I allowed to have a good guess at it, or do you want to?
Yeah, have a guess. No, go have a guess.
Yeah, you got to be doing Shredder's helmet.
No, but
that's a great idea.
That
is a great idea, though.
It is a great idea. So this, I was considering that being the sculpture project, that I try a sculpture, but then I thought of this one, which I think I might be wrong, but I think will be easier than Shredder's helmet.
Yeah.
So I think I'll cut my teeth on this one, and then if I can do it, I'll do.
So we're not talking about the call-up build. We're not talking about the call-up build.
No,
No, not that collab build. This is just it's a sculpture in line.
We're
with
still
something
doing that, right?
Holder and I mean, I need to put together a proposal and actually resubmit that because I've got a bunch of parts I need to use. Like I want to clear out what's behind me. I've chipped through so much in the last few weeks into builds. So I got to like strip the whole thing out.
Yeah,
I'll be happy. No, essentially, it's an idea that Dave Holder and I had floated for a while, but we couldn't really settle on what we wanted to do with it. So it's like an idea, and then Tom just out of nowhere goes, "Hey, what about this idea?" and basically puts bang on the best way to do it. And we're like, "All right, well then you should do it." Like we've been tossing this idea back and forth for about a year, not sure how to do it. You've put together a proposal. And yeah, I think I'm keen. Like I think
I'm keen. I can't wait. Hopefully it works. I just need to get better at Blender, and then once I've got Blender, I reckon I'll fly through it. Hopefully.
Yeah, but still, the real bricks is what counts. I mean, digital and everything.
So I thought that a long time. For a long time, I thought that, and then Lewis showed me. I just never used it before. When you go from studio, and you can just put the wanted list in. And then you tear through the wanted list, get rid of the stuff you've already got lying around. And then you go to the buy all, which I knew was there. That's fine. I went to the buy all on the wanted list. But then that auto fill button, what's it called? Auto something?
Oh, whatever it is, where it builds your carts based on the algorithm.
Yeah, where it just builds your carts from whatever store in your parameters. I put Australia and New Zealand. I'd never done New Zealand before, but Lewis said it's normally pretty quick.
There's a few good sellers in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's not half bad. I mean, there's a few sellers.
The exchange
I can't name names in Australia because I don't remember who they are, because I've got them blocked. But there's some that you'll build, but it's always worth checking your carts because there's one store in particular that charges like $2 for a 2x4 brick. But they've got mad quantities, so the algorithm will go, "Oh, you need 100 of these bricks. We'll put you in this store." But then you look at the cart and you go, "Good Lord, that's expensive." But you can put them into a list and have it filter out. Yeah. So over time, if you come up with some stores where you're like, "Yeah, their prices are a bit egregious for me," you can just exclude them.
Yeah.
I ended up flicking between having New Zealand in and out and seeing what the price difference was. But yeah,
and sometimes it can only be like one part. I had one order where it went from being 12 orders down to 6 if I just didn't order one particular piece.
Oh, this was just 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it's worth having a look. I mean, some people go through and manually troll through stores, and if you want to do that, that's fine. I find the time payoff worth it to just go.
That's what I used to do because that's what I thought the only option was. And now that I know, I can digitally build something and then just go boop 3 stores.
Oh, they've even got a harder hitting algorithm from the outside of the wanted list. You can just hit buy all, and it just does a worldwide search.
Wow.
And it normally knocks it down to only a couple of stores, but they'll be in some random countries.
Yeah, but it works. There's this store in Thailand.
Yep, DD Bricks.
DD Bricks. I mean, it's just insane. I don't know
the reason
where
why they're so good is that they're in partnership with a German store who part owns them. So they get all the cheap bricks in Germany. They ship them in like a massive bulk lot to Thailand.
Massive bulk lot.
Like shipping container size. And then they part it out and then ship it from Thailand. And then from Thailand to Australia, it's like $10, $20. Like it's
it's pretty good.
I ordered,
and it gets really quick.
Yeah, which is, I think I got a bit burned in mid-COVID when I put together like a big order and it took 5 months to arrive from overseas. And while I know that's not going to be the case now, it's just always the thing in the back of my head to order domestic.
Yeah.
Even though, like, yes, 100%. Like, I remember I had one.
There's been so many times where I've ordered from overseas, and I've done 2 orders. One in Queensland, one from Slovakia, and the Slovakia one gets there in 5 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had a parcel from Perth arrive in 3 days, and one from ACT, like my state, arrive in 2 weeks. And I was at the point where I literally could have just driven and picked this thing up.
Yeah, I got some parts that took 2 weeks from like Brisbane, and I'm in Brisbane. I was like,
well, it's a week ago tonight that I ordered these 3 from these 3 stores, and only the one from Brisbane's turned up so far. There was one Western Australia and one New Zealand.
I
I'll
ordered
always
Yeah.
put,
beer
like,
from Moondog and it hasn't arrived. yet.
Suggestion from the UK, Casey Jones weapon bag. That was my next idea. When I'm just doing all the turtle weapons, I thought the next one would be Casey needs a weapon. I was thinking a cricket bat at the time, but
yeah.
I think
I mean,
Lewis
that's
is
a side
already
project. No, I'm working on a series of sporting equipment, so we can always just collaborate and cross-reference. I've got a cricket bat done.
Just put a Casey Jones tape around the outside.
Yeah.
Elena said, "Who wants to build me a scale model of the Artemis rocket with crawler?" Is that a
Surely
NASA
it
thing?
exists.
Pardon my ignorance.
I remember someone a few years ago did like a series of rockets scaled with the Saturn V.
Oh.
I don't know if they were physically built or digitally, but it was like a massive series of scaled rockets. I'm blanking on who it was, but have a look around because I think it might actually be done.
Right.
It's actually on ideas.
Oh, is it?
The
Oh,
crawler.
there you go.
The
Which means you
crawler
won't be
is
able to
on
get
ideas.
instructions for that one if it's on ideas because they're not allowed to post
I
them.
asked Sam, but he said no. Was it because he doesn't have a Lego room or ever appear anywhere anymore?
Is it because he'd need to use
Yeah.
the crane to build it? I was just going to add on to a point that Tom had before about building digitally. I guess a bit to clarify is that we basically never do a purely digital. We always digital, physically build, and then go, this thing is broken. Like almost every time. And you put it together and just go, like, connections don't work. So, I mean, in my job, physically, my job is converting people doing plaster to a digital workflow. So I'm always trying to push the idea of mixed media. Like, it's always great to use the tools that you've got. I mean,
I apologize. I don't know why it
Tom,
keeps
out again.
happening.
That's right.
I don't know what to say.
It's okay.
I
Whereas that
apologize,
was
everyone.
simply saying, with the mechanics and technique, it's really got to be hard to do it digitally. I haven't tried. Every time I need a mechanism, I physically build it.
Yeah, and again,
so
that's
much
because
easier.
that is the bulk of my building. Is like, but
100%.
it's nothing that you can do in studio yet can simulate motion, and that's the major thing. Are your flexible components? It's not particularly good at doing that.
It's a nightmare.
Chain links are horrible. You've got to basically rotate every link around, and like half the time I don't even bother with it. Wires and things like that, it can't simulate particularly well, and the motion and the physics that you can't put two gears in studio and say stop clashing the teeth, just rotate it automatically. That would be the godsend. You know, you put two gears next to each other and they clash like that straight away, and you've got to be able to move them that little bit. And no movement, so that's the hardest thing.
Look, we'll hope that that's a future upgrade to the system. Is adding.
The sad thing was there was a tool that came out many years ago that was a beautiful simulation of everything in Technic, but the guy who was writing the software sadly passed away.
Oh no!
And I'm not sure if his wife gave out the source code, but nothing ever came of it. It was called SR3D or something, but it was really cool. You could put a whole bunch of gears in there and just turn one, and you could see what worked. But that's my main limitation with building in studio, is that the only time I'll ever do it now is if I'm building instructions for someone. You know, I bring it up, I'll put all the steps in place, and I'll generate a PDF, and that's the limit of my need.
Is that what you're going to do for me, Rowan?
No, I'd rather help in person. It's easier and quicker sometimes.
And of course, renders.
Can I show you an example?
The renders are very nice.
They're just so quick. I mean, it's how we like. I think at the moment those two Crash Bandicoot masks. I did a mock-up for the team. I got a stock image of like a lounge room and rendered them out and stuck them on a wall and added a little shadow. And then we just went, all right, we're going to use that as a product photo instead of going on location because it works fine. But I think you can export out a studio and put it into Blender and then get like really good photo real kind of renders out of it as well. But no, the flex tubing, you're right. That is a nightmare to try and do. Like the Sting sword, it stretches the elements longer than they are. And so I had to put like a design in for the clips and then build it and tweak everything post because it stretches everything out a little bit more. I mean, that's what I found. Here's the other build I've been working on, which is a bit odd, is
nice.
Oh, wow.
But I want to use these elements
that's
from the Eternals
cool.
for the wings. But trying to get these to bend just like a little bit, nightmare. So the model itself has these wings sticking straight out, and everyone's like, "Oh, they just look ugly." Like, please trust me that in real life they bend and they look nicer. Like it looks
Yeah.
bad in the render.
That's
It looks real
cool.
bad.
The
Yeah.
biggest
I
issue
just
I've
want to
had
use
or
these,
other
that's
with,
all I
with
wanted to see.
Studio is when you've
That's
got
cool.
angles. Like if you're building things like that and you've got things at weird triangular angles, and once you've got the angle set, it's really hard to get another brick to snap to it at that angle. It
Yeah.
always wants to work at the
Yeah.
90 degrees.
Yeah.
You've kind of got to
It's,
take this whole bit off,
Yeah.
rotate it level again, attach what you want, and then put it back in.
The latest update to it's been really good in that if you normally if you attach, say, something at an angle and then
Yeah.
you try and move it, it would snap it to 90. It now doesn't do that, which is nice in the
Okay.
recent update. So it will, like, if you copy something or even mirror it, it keeps it on the angle when you attach it to a clip. That has
Yeah.
been like a lifesaver. Otherwise, everything like you're talking about with that, I have to pre-map the trigonometry
Yeah.
and like pre-figure out the exact angles because you can type in manual angles.
I
which
do
is-
like that new feature where you can basically click a stud and then just say attach it to this one, and it just goes through and just takes your brick and just snaps it to wherever you tell it to. It that is just the coolest thing ever.
Well, it's all. I mean, I think my
Mm.
opinion is I think that once Lego bought it, they were like, "Yeah, it's fine," and they just kind of left it for a little while. But yeah, who knows? It's a free program at the end of the day, so
I think
maybe
the
one will
more
come
and more
out and
they
pay for
use it
better.
in house, then it'll get improved.
No, that's all right. I'll expect one day that there'll be a paid version or something that I'll probably need to subscribe for, like a Adobe Cloud that has all the lovely things that
Yeah.
you want it to do. But no, physically building is always the most fun if you can, of course. There is always a limitation of
Yeah.
parts and what you've got.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So we have crossed the hour. We've gone past the hour.
We have.
I think we
Whoa.
covered the topic.
Cover else, or is that's pretty much it? We've talked about modularity. We've talked about planning for viewing all sides, prototyping, taking photos, building second copies of it.
Scale.
Getting
We don't talk about
inspiration.
scale, but it's really important.
I will say we talked about drafting with bricks like Rowan was and drafting digitally like Lewis. I do tend to sketch it out. I let it marinate for a long time and try to kind of build it in my head. And then I'll sketch it out and try to map it out on a grid,
There's
grid
sketches.
paper.
I still use good old paper here.
Yeah, the grid papers to see whether what's in my head will actually space out correctly, like by studs.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a step.
That's what I use
Actually,
Excel for.
my-
Is essentially the same thing.
With my animals, with the creatures that I do, I actually start from the skeleton. So, because I played everything out, so I want to see how the movement is. And this is something that I learned from Goss. Build the skeleton first of the animal you want to build. And based on that, you can determine the scale, you can determine the movement. The same thing when you're building something that is going to be realistic or whatever. Look at that one element that is going to determine the scale for the rest of the build, like Lewis did with the heads, with the faces.
Yeah.
And that's going to help.
Last
Like
images, yeah.
when I was building the giraffe for the first time, I first built the first head I built was probably this big, and that would mean that the giraffe was going to be probably 2 meters
Size of a
high.
baby giraffe.
Yeah. So it was really hard to actually get the giraffe's head to the scale that I needed, but that's where you have to start with the thing that is going to be the most obvious element of your build for scale. Because if
like
you start the other way
what's the
around,
focal
you're going to
point?
screw it up. What was that?
I said, find your focal point. Like,
Yeah.
what is something that people are going to look at that's even the most obvious, if it's the centerpiece or it's a particular detail. As you said, you start there. And that graph paper is great. That's why I use Excel. It's the same thing as digitally, is I use that generator and go, it's 70 studs long. I put an image on it, and then I just start drawing the shapes over it. I delete the image, and then I have a map of how big everything is.
I actually have butcher's paper.
Yeah.
So when I built the head of the giraffe, I was happy with the head. I placed it on the butcher's paper, and I drew the giraffe, the size of the giraffe based on the size of the head.
That's
The head,
and that's how I knew
yeah.
it was going to look like.
Phil likes Excel as well. I tried making my Excel squares or cells squares once and couldn't get it to just be squares. If I'm with the same width and height, it didn't look like squares on the screen. It looked like little rectangles in the other direction.
That's a resolution, dude.
Something wrong with the monitor.
Oh, well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you
Thank
to the
you.
people who are
Yeah.
watching and commenting in the chat. I kind of like just YouTube. I'm just saying.
It is nice.
We
Yeah.
don't get to see how many people are watching at the moment, unless you can see that.
I can see that.
Yeah, you can
there's-
see on
Yeah.
This
YouTube.
one has been 9 people watching
Okay.
Yeah.
on the little thing I've got at the top here.
I think
Yeah.
Instagram sometimes gets a little bit more, but oh well.
Oh yeah, Instagram definitely gets more because
Well,
I've
it's
been
because it
doing
pops up
Instagram
on your
for
story,
years.
like, hey, this person's doing something that you follow.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
You
Yeah.
get a lot more drop-ins. But no,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
I do
nice.
find
I
once
like
I
it.
start up because I take a break over the summer pretty much every year. But when I start up again
Yeah.
the next year, it's a bit thinner and people start jumping back on. And this is
Yeah.
the first time we've ever done just YouTube. So
Yeah.
That is
Good.
true.
all right,
Hmm.
next week Instagram. What's our topic?
Hmm.
People in the chat. People in the
Who's
screen.
here?
Who's here next week?
Yeah, that's what we'll probably determine.
All right. Well, I think Toddy will want to be up for it. Maybe
Yeah.
Yabsy.
Well, then maybe Toddy's been doing that MCU museum and talking about building in minifigure scale. So maybe you could work on something about like tips of building things in minifig scale.
Yep, that'll be good.
Just 'cause, you know,
Sounds
Toddy's
good.
museum's come across quite well with
Yeah.
all of his little details. So I think that could be.
If you're
Yeah.
christening a boat, make sure that all the minifigs are looking at the boat.
I have a question about that. I noticed.
They didn't get in with the story. They were being distracted.
It was a party.
Maybe they were just.
I love that
having fun.
mechanism, by the way.
They
That
were
mechanism is
chatting.
awesome. I love it rocking the whole boat back and
They
forth.
were
That was
eating
great.
hors d'oeuvres. They didn't care about the woman with the bottle. They were having fun and chatting. Yeah.
There's also-
Hey,
I didn't
that's a
buy
good
that.
tip.
I thought the
I'm
whole
just
point
saying
was
a
that they
tip.
were like stealing it secretly, right? I thought you said that at the start. They're like clandestinely stealing this boat. So no one was looking at it. I thought that was that was the intention.
Right. How are they going to steal it? Yeah. That was dodgy. But anyway,
Anyway,
it's a TV
there's-
show.
There's your first tip. Make sure that everyone's looking at the boat.
make sure everyone's looking at the boat.
So
Do you have
David
it on
will be
a shirt for a show that says make sure everyone's looking at a boat? I'd love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that could be the title of the next week's stream.
Yeah.
make sure.
That's
Make
actually
sure
Look at the
everyone's
photos.
looking
Look
at
at
the
your
boat.
mini feeds,
Yeah.
correct.
That was a cop out. That cop out. But anyway, it's a show. It's not a Lego show. It's a
Build
TV
Lego
show.
without going further than 15 minutes from your house.
I don't get it.
I think it's so
Order
that you
everything
don't
from
have to
Bricklink.
get parts. Yeah. Order
Yeah,
brick-
No, I
That's
think that was a
every
suggestion
set you
of a
own.
Toddy
10
themed
seconds.
theme because Toddy doesn't leave his house.
Oh, yeah.
Ah,
Oh, yikes.
The other one is
I've
thank you,
got two
Gareth.
big boxes
Had to
coming
sign
tomorrow.
up to YouTube to watch this. We are.
Oh.
on it.
Oh,
Oh,
thanks for coming.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. On that note, thank you all. We'll see you next week on Instagram if you choose to.
Saturday night. Saturday night on
Saturday night?
Instagram.
With
Yep.
bricks, wine, and Coca-Cola.
A little bit
Oh
more informal.
Oh,
Please,
no.
you're just not on the wavelength.
yeah,
No.
maybe
It's not a
Lewis
good wavelength
can,
to
but
be on. You don't have to do it. I'm not.
That's more
I don't
sugar.
want to know.
Now we
Especially
know
Sounds
how
gross.
bars rip us off. No.
Yeah.
I'm starting off YouTube. Let me stop this stream. Thank you, everyone, for watching.